Hello and welcome to Movies, Films, and Flakes. I am Mark Hoffmeyer, and joining me is a man who loves it when his torpedoes aren't installed in his spaceship. It's Niall Moore.
Yeah, Tuesdays are hell. I'm just waiting for that delivery. It being Tuesday now, the Amazon guy hasn't been around yet, and I'm still waiting.
There's the way I envision this is like a car with a frame, four wheels, an engine, but no doors, no heater, no power steering, no back seat.
It's like one of those airplanes you see being shipped off to the client. So it's been kind of fitted out in the Boeing factory or whatever, and it has wings and engines, but when you look inside it, it's just completely empty.
And they're out on a mission. Good old Alan Ruck,
Yeah,
Captain
he
Harriman.
gets to he gets to have his day in the sun as slightly inept looking captain of the Enterprise.
This okay, so we've covered the first the OG Star Trek films, the six. Now we're gonna jump on the four new next generation films. This one's even better at wasting time than some of the other ones because this
The
wait, the
thing
first
is,
16 minutes it's Shatner, and then they're on a boat. They're on a boat, and I know it's the holodeck, but you only hear a crazy stat, Niall, that I learned from listening to the commentary of this film.
yeah, go for it.
This movie took 51 days to shoot. Guess how
Okay,
many days were
that's
spent on
not
that
a
boat?
lot. Oh, I've heard it's quite a substantial number.
10.
Yeah,
It's like
for
20% of
a
the movie was on that
a
boat.
throwaway scene.
And like the director fought for that. And like I think the director did a good job. He directed some next gen episodes. He directed David Carson. He directed the Deep Space Nine pilot. But 20% of the shoot, Nile, was spent on that boat for like a 3 minute scene.
Which does not seem very efficient.
No.
And that's the thing. We've moved now from six, which was Nicholas Meyer knowing how to do a Star Trek movie, to a bunch of guys who cut their teeth on Next Generation now being told, okay, Next Generation is finished. You guys are doing a movie. Here's 51 days to do it. That's how Meyer used to do it. And then they end up having to shoot this thing, which there are some good ideas in it, but it's very hodgepodge and kind of very,
Yes.
very mixed. And I will never forgive it for the writers not watching the source material, because there's an episode of Next Generation, and this is where I get very nerdy for a second. There's an episode of Next Generation where Scotty gets found still alive, having been hidden in a transporter buffer that's recycling him over and over again 70 years later. And he has a line saying, "Oh, I bet Jim Kirk has got the Enterprise out of mothballs to come and fix me." How could Jim Kirk have done that when Scotty's watched him get disappeared? It just irritates me so much.
Oh, wow.
It's just, I can't watch this film without fixating on that and being like, all you had to do was have a different character. Didn't have to be Scotty. You could have had any of the other guys. And yeah,
Yeah.
it's a very, very annoying mistake. And it just irritates me.
Well, and it should because I was listening to David Carson and on the commentary, he wasn't like Nicholas Meyer was established by the time he made Star Trek Six. Like Leonard Nimoy had a few movies under his belt when he made the later films of the let's see what else did he A Voyage Home. Like he kind of knew what he
Yeah.
was doing. This film, this is a TV director, and so he just got kind of steamrolled. And during the commentary, they were talking to him, and he goes, there were a lot of opinions on this movie, and it feels like a film with a lot of opinions because they apparently the studio said that they have to kill Kirk, and Kirk has to be there so he can pass the torch to Patrick Stewart.
Yeah.
So they're like, but what's crazy is Next Gen was successful at this time,
So
and
Next Gen had just come off its run of
yeah,
7 seasons or
the torch
whatever.
was passed.
We already had that Avengers style sign off at the end of Star Trek 6 with their names getting signed in the stars.
Yeah,
Um, that was their send off. They
and
had they had their send off. There was no need for Kirk to be in this movie to start with. There was no need for that next gen, the previous gen handover thing. They could
None.
have just started with the expensive boat scene or the very lengthy boat scene that they've done, as they still needed some kind of cinematic introduction to the next gen crew, I guess. That was probably their concern, where, oh, what if people haven't watched the show? They know the Star Trek characters are Captain Kirk and whoever. If we don't put them in it, how will they know?
And that's what they were thinking. Absolutely. Did Next Gen play worldwide?
Yeah.
Or oh, Next Gen was around the world playing. Like, did you watch Next Gen?
Oh yeah. I
Oh,
watched Next Gen religiously.
and you know what's crazy? By this time, they should have known that's like uh, the Star Trek franchise doesn't bring in gigantic worldwide audiences. For the most part, it brings in Star Trek fans, correct?
Yes.
So then they all knew who the next generation crew were. And
And as we've talked about on previous films, you start by making a good movie and then you set it in a Star Trek universe
yes,
or a Star Trek way. So you need to bring in a relatable story that your casual audience can latch onto and then expand on how these Star Trek characters would interact with that story. And that's where you get the good storytelling from. And this one is just a bit of a mess.
yeah. Explain it. Explain the plot to me and the audience.
So it begins with one handover number one. Kirk is handing over to the next captain of the Enterprise, and they get some distress call from some people. And of course, they're the only ship in the sector because they have to be the only ship in the sector. And they go and try and rescue them. And they rescue some people, one of whom is Whoopi Goldberg's character, one of whom is Matthew McDowell's character, who is the ends up
Malcolm.
being the villain of, or
Yeah.
Malcolm McDowell, sorry, who ends up being the villain of the piece. Then and Kirk sacrifices himself heroically to save the day, and
The first
that's
time.
that. Then we cut forward to them being on the holodeck doing a promotion ceremony for Michael Dorn's character, Mr. Worf, and they kind of try to have a few character moments here to see how they can introduce the characters. So they show that Data doesn't have a sense of humor, that Picard he gets his little bit of trauma with his brother and nephew and sister-in-law just killed unceremoniously off screen.
Yeah.
So how can we make Picard sad? Right, let's just kill all his family. It's fine. Didn't need them anyway.
And everyone's dressed the same too. Like, let's put them on a boat where everyone's in the same outfit pretty much. Like, there's a few differences, but no one really looks different in
and
this scene.
then there's more distress calls, and they go to some outpost, and your guy Soren is trying to blow up a star to redirect energy clouds, and then there are some Klingons who are doing something. Um, so they're recurring characters from the show. They were antagonists. There's no need for them to be there other than they probably had the actresses' phone numbers and said, "Hey, we need a couple of Klingon characters to be antagonists in this movie.
To blow
Why
up.
don't you do it?" And then there's this big whole scene where Picard fails and gets sucked into this alternate dimension thing where Kirk is making eggs for his girlfriend or something. And
Do you
then
remember
he
the
can,
with Dylan Oregano?
mm, well, you have to have Dylan Oregano.
Yeah.
Um, and he convinces Kirk to escape this energy ribbon place with him and go and save the day again. So then Kirk gets to die heroically again. And meanwhile, the Enterprise somehow manages to get itself taken out by a little bird of prey, which is ridiculous in itself. But anyway, because they'd captured Geordi, and
Made
his
literal
doctor decided
spyglasses.
it's a good idea for him, after being held captive for several days or several hours, to go straight back to work as soon as he's back on the ship. And he doesn't need observation whatsoever. It's just very silly.
Yeah. Yes,
And
Crusher just sends him out.
it's so for previous films in this series, we've been able to say, okay, it's Moby Dick.
Yeah.
It's a courtroom thing. It's a convoluted hodgepodge of about five. They probably took about five scripts from the writer's room floor and just said, okay, let's stick this bit in and then this and then let's do that and then let's do that. It could have almost been 4 or 5 episodes of the show in a row.
Yeah, and it doesn't gel.
No.
But okay, so get this. So let's see, 20 minutes before the final credits, Picard and Shatner are still riding horses in the Nexus because
Yeah.
he Stewart finds okay, let's see. Picard finds Kirk making eggs, convinces him to help him. Now, they go to battle Malcolm McDowell or Soren, but the problem is at 1 minute, at 1 hour and 50 minutes, spoilers, Kirk is dead again. So between them getting off the horses and Kirk dying is 12 minutes. The finale of this film is a 12-minute fight scene in the desert. That's very lo-fi because they had no time to do it because 10 days were spent on a boat.
It is very, very Star Trek to be having a fight scene among some off-colored rocks
Rocks.
in a
Oh,
desert.
okay. Okay. That's fair then. That's fair. There's been a lot of desert work. And listen, people are going to sound like I'm hating on this movie. And I do think that it looks gorgeous. Like the cinematography is brilliant. Like there's a lot of talk about let me get the cinematographer's name, who is, there's so many credits here. Let me go. John A. Alonzo. I mean, like the guy's kind of a legend. So the movie looks beautiful. I mean, he shot Chinatown, which is kind of crazy that the guy who shot Chinatown shot Star Trek Generations. It looks good. I think, that he built all the lights within the sets, and there's some really moody scenes with a lot of shadow that look great because they had no time to actually light each setup. So the guy lit
Well, the
every
issue
set.
was that a lot of the sets that they had been made in 4:3, and to
Yeah.
move them to a cinematic aperture like 185 one or whatever they were filming it in, they couldn't even reuse a lot of the sets they had because they had to then add stuff to them to kind of make them actually work with the wider camera aperture.
And the chair was stolen too. Captain Kirk's chair was stolen, which I kind of
Was it?
love. Yeah, that's
Hmm.
what they were talking about in the commentary. But the guy had to build lights, whatever the sets they had to build lights into them so that they could just be lit on the day, so they couldn't be shuffling a lot of lights around to save money and move fast. But it still looks pretty great. Like I think the cinematography is great. I really like Malcolm McDowell's look in this role. Like I think he has an interesting story. His entire family was murdered, and he
So
just wants.
Soren himself as a character, aside from maybe you don't need to commit genocide to get yourself back into an energy ribbon. Could you not just park a shuttlecraft out in front of it and get sucked in that way? Do you really need to blow up stars to make this thing hit planets? Maybe he
No.
needed to just go to a counselor and say, "Look, what I really want to do is get back in this energy ribbon, and we'll get." And then she could be like, "Okay, maybe I'll get my scientist friend to have a look at it and say, okay, I know you're thinking about blowing up stars to do this, but have you perhaps considered just putting on a spacesuit and sitting in space and waiting for it to pick you up? Maybe."
Yeah, but then no one has to rescue him, if that may, like, no one has to. If he just did that, then he's not going to kill millions, which is
No.
insane. But like, I just like the idea that he wants to go to this Nexus to develop a perfect world, a perfect fake world, so that he can live with his family again. That's
But would he
totally
be able
reasonable.
to?
What?
If you look at both Kirk and Picard, it wasn't enough reality for them.
Yeah, that's true. It was definitely fake. Could you live in the Nexus?
It's like the Matrix, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true. Just not.
If
If you
you
could
don't
have.
know, if you don't know,
Oh,
maybe the experience is real enough for you, but certain things will nag at you, like not being afraid when jumping over a certain ditch, or your nephew suddenly being alive when you're fairly certain you got a phone call saying he was killed a few hours before.
and he couldn't even film that scene because they had to waste a day because Patrick Stewart wasn't in the emotional state to shoot that scene when he like when he has his big breakdown. So that's another day gone for that. This is crazy. Okay, I remember watching some of this back in the 90s, and I remember feeling like this wasn't it. But yeah, this is about 8 different films smashed into one, which is correct because there were about 8 different scripts packed into it. And then he also had to give Kirk all of his scenes. He had to give Patrick Stewart, all of his scenes. Nimoy didn't want to come back. You had the new cast. Like, I think Data is funny in this, but he needed a bit. Jordy needed to get tortured. It's do you think Patrick Stewart even really gets an arc in this movie?
He gets very little.
Yeah, okay.
He has the scene where he first finds out about the family, where he talks to Marina Sirtis' character, Councillor Troy, and has a little bit of a breakdown. It's like, okay, that's some solid dramatic work.
Mm-hmm.
And then the
He gets
rest of
super
it
pissed
is,
at McDowell in one scene. Yeah.
but then the rest of it is just mostly fighting or crawling around in the sand. There wasn't too much to it.
Throwing rocks.
Throwing rocks, crawling under rocks.
It's still okay. If this movie was still on, I would put it on and probably like it. Do you like this movie?
I don't mind it. I
Yeah.
like it better than so of the four next gen movies, I would say it's probably my second favorite. I would put it a higher than Insurrection, and it's definitely higher than Nemesis. But it's leaps and bounds off First Contact. First Contact is far superior.
And I mean, I was looking at the box office of this. There was an audience for it. It made, let's see, it made 120 million, which means it pulled in about 45 million dollars worldwide, which is not bad for a Star Trek film. And so it seemed like there was an audience for it. It cost 38 million to make. But yeah, it did
Yeah,
not.
that's why it did well enough to justify a sequel,
Mhm.
but it wasn't that good. I
No,
think if First Contact had flopped, that would have been the end of it.
I agree. Because this one's just I'm gonna I would love it if I think of all the franchise ever released, all the franchises that have ever been released. I feel like the Star Trek franchises might be the most interesting to teach about, just simply
Okay.
because. All right, so MCU was done well, but like same like it was just the safe way of playing it up. I think you have these characters, you have a hero's journey, you do this, you do that, same brain trust going through. Like there was the same pretty much like Kevin Feige was over most of it. Their crew was over most of it. What's interesting with this, like it doesn't seem like too many egos destroyed any MCU movies. But like with Star Trek, you have the first one, which was supposed to be 2001, and then you have a good one, which is the second one, and then you have a decent one, the third one, a great one with the fourth one, a pretty bad one with the fifth one, then a great sixth one. But budgets were cut, budgets were raised. Shatner directed because he had a clause in his contract. Nimoy directed because he directed two, so he had to direct one. They had this like treaty going on. All the sets were reused. Like different talent came in. They rushed it. They didn't bring in ILM. It's like, but the same basic principles of the good ones, like we said, the good ones are other movies placed in a Star Trek world. And so
And the other good ones have finished scripts before they
yeah,
start
yeah,
shooting.
exactly. And it's like,
That is
guys,
something that seems to help with a movie. Having a finished script and a vision actually helps. Who knew?
and you know what though? There's 7 films down the line, and they were still not finishing sets. They were still like they had the TV show before this that did well, and it's still not a well-oiled machine because of all the opinions and voices going on. So it's like we're gonna do a great one, and then we're gonna kind of self-destruct a bit, and then we're gonna make another good one because we've recouped from that one, and then we're gonna self-destruct. Like, it's just a really interesting push and pull of like ups and downs in this franchise. And I think for all like I think for all of them, this one might be the most disjointed so far because
Yeah, it's, you have that weird insertion of Kirk to start with. Then, like you said, they spent stupid amount of time filming a holodeck promotion scene,
blows my mind.
which could have been Picard just calling him into his office and saying, Mr. Worf, you've done a very good job. You're being promoted.
Yeah, on
Job
the
done.
deck. Yeah, done one day.
And then walk back out onto the bridge and everyone gives them a nice clap and it's like, congratulations, Mr. Worf. And then it's okay, to business.
Hoorah! Yeah, yeah.
And then you've got 9 extra days to shoot the rest of it.
Paint can dry on sets, which is
Yes.
nice, but I don't know. This one, it's like they don't trust the new brand yet. And I think Marvel might have had, like, I think a lot of people have problems with that, where it's kind of like they don't want to fully invest in new characters. You got to like lump them in, like, but some
Well,
people do it
that's what you
smart.
see with I just saw an ad somewhere for, I don't know if it's real or not. They're talking about making Suits LA,
Yeah, they're doing that.
where they're bringing back Gabriel Macht to play Harvey Specter. So it's kind of, oh, we have to bring that continuation character over to get audiences interested in this thing rather than it living on its own merit.
Yeah,
And this is where you end up with, well, how many cheers? So there was Frasier, which actually turned out
yeah,
very well, but then there's Frasier, which did not turn out so well, the newer one, where they tried to kind of bring back the energy that was there in the original show, and it just wasn't there.
mm-mm.
And you see it. You mentioned MCU, and you see in the Marvel movies in the early days the cameos were very much cameos and they made sense. It was okay, here's Tony Stark talking to the general. That's cool. That
Yeah,
shows that this is in the same universe. Or here's a little tease. Whereas in the later stuff, it feels kind of forced where you have these characters just show up so that people know that they're watching the same series of movies almost.
yeah. You need a familiar face in Miss Marvel or one of these shows to be
Yeah.
like, oh, okay. Or you need like a stupid, Stark Enterprises banner on a Moon Knight thing to be like,
Um,
oh, okay.
I don't know. Did Daredevil really need to show up in Spider-Man? I did quite like that little
Yeah, that was a
cameo,
good bit. Yeah,
but
yeah.
was that really necessary?
I'm gonna say yes, but I know exactly. So this is one of those where I know exactly what you're saying, but I love Daredevil so much that I'm like, even if this is the most gratuitous thing on the planet, that. But you're right. It's they just throw him in there, and but this, I don't think this Kirk was. You killed Kirk twice in this movie,
Yeah,
and by doing that, you take away the screen time of your future stars, and you condense everything. And, okay, so let's think.
I'd actually be interested to see which actors had the most screen time throughout this film because I would say Kirk has a substantially bigger chunk than most of the next gen crew. I think Troy was in about two scenes. I think Worf was in about two scenes. Riker wasn't really in it much.
Mm-mm.
Data had a bit of growth. Geordi had a bit of growth. Picard probably matched Kirk, but that was almost it. There wasn't really anything for a lot of them to do because you'd taken away this amount of screen time just to give this gratuitous cameo to Kirk as a passing of the torch moment.
Tiny little life forms. That's like Data. He has no time, but that's a great. He probably has the most. I think he probably registers the most in this. But let's think
Yeah,
about this. The first 18 minutes of the movie are
that's
Kirk.
all. That's all Kirk.
Yeah, and then you have the boat scene, so that's
The
10
boat
days.
scene.
So let's say
So
that whole
then,
scene in the beginning costs 10 days, right?
yeah,
On set, so that's 20 days. The stuff in the Nexus, that's
probably filmed over the course of 4 or 5 days, I would
yeah,
say, between the house and the horse riding and whatever.
so like 25 days. We have the fight on the planet with the three guys. That's
Probably is 10.
yes. So we have 20 days for the OG
I'd
cast,
I'd
or like,
say
oh,
it
plus
was
the 10 days,
I'd say it
like
was
30
most
days.
likely that I doubt Stewart was even on set with most of his castmates because he
Yeah.
spent so much time away from them. Most of his scenes were with Kirk or with McDowell. And then you had the whole B plot with the Enterprise getting blown up and crashing, which he was nowhere near.
And I feel like they should have learned their mistake from the first Star Trek the Motion Picture when they introduced the two brand new characters. And then it's like, okay, deuces, see you later, go with V'ger. Like it's
Yeah.
that took away from a lot of that. And then also when you think about Wrath of Khan, I mean, Uhura never gets much to do. A lot of the characters don't have much to
No.
do, but they like at least they're there. And I think Voyage Home had some great ensemble work.
And they feel utilized where appropriate, at least.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There it is.
They're there. And when there is something that needs their skill set, it's like, okay, they're there. Uhura, can you speak Klingon to this dude? Yeah, sure, I can speak Klingon to this dude. Um,
Yeah.
sends the Russian to steal nuclear materials from an aircraft carrier in a US Army base. Probably not the wisest idea.
And then go save his life. You know, like
Yeah.
it, I don't know. They just really threw the next gen characters to the side. And listen, I just don't think Kirk was necessary here.
No.
I don't. And listen, I can't make movies better than these people, but you should just take this guy and he's gone insane. He's teamed up with some Klingons because that's the only people that will support him through his goal. And he's like, I'm going to do this. I don't care. I will kill millions if I can be with my family. I don't care. And then they
Yeah,
got to
what
stop
what
him.
you can do, what you can do is you cut the entire first sequence. You start, you can still do the promotion bit if you must. Um, but then you go straight to the observatory bit where they meet Soren, and then that's where you have a flashback with Whoopi Goldberg and him of just the ships being in trouble, and a it doesn't have to be the Enterprise. A Federation ship comes and kind of rescues them while they're in this kind of half Nexus state. And then she can go into her whole thing where, the Nexus is this amazing place. He's trying to get back there. And then it can be just about trying to stop Soren and how to try to fight him.
And then he has the Klingons with him.
Yeah,
And they're cheeky ladies who think human ladies are ugly.
exactly.
And then you got a movie. Like I think that works. And also, like, you could tie in Data with his emotions into the bad guy. Like the emotions that this bad guy's feeling, like Data's like understanding. Like there's ways to deal with this.
You can keep the whole Data emotional arc in there. That's one of the things that does work as a throughput in the film. Data
Mm-hmm.
kind of coming to grips with having emotions. You can even keep
Torture,
The Geordie torture bit and giving away the shield codes or whatever it was that they did.
the frequency of the
But
shields.
then when it comes to the ending, you almost want Picard to be able to reason with him rather than have to fight him, because that's always been how Picard has shone throughout the entire body of work that was Next Generation. Picard wasn't a fighter. He wasn't a fire torpedoes first, ask questions later kind of guy. He's the guy you send in to negotiate and to talk.
And you know what's crazy? He fails in this movie too. He legit fails. And then he's
Oh
like,
yeah.
I need the OG captain's help. And then like,
And then he gets it, and there's a there's a nice moment of just have as a fan having the two captains interact is nice,
yeah,
but it's unnecessary for the story. It just adds fluff and confusion, and it definitely takes away from the rest of the cast.
I feel like notes killed this movie. Like, we need this, we need this, we need this. And then you're like, this isn't really a movie anymore. This is more like a bunch of pit stops
It
on
could
a
have been
film.
more poignant if instead of Kirk, who he gets in the Nexus, he gets one of his crew that's being killed as part of whatever Soren is doing, or and he gets one of his crew members and it's like, okay,
Oh, I need your help. Come with
I
me.
need your help. We
Not
need
Kirk's
to,
help.
yeah, someone who he actually has a connection with. So let's say Riker, or let's say Worf, who he's just given a promotion to.
Oh, and then they go to the planet.
Yeah,
I mean, listen, I guess from a budgetary standpoint or like from box office, you're like, we need Shatner because none of these people are proven box office. But this movie cost 30 some million to make. Like, that's not a lot of money. Like, even by inflation standards, it's probably 70. So like they're not
yeah.
putting a ton
It
of money into this film. So you don't like, it would have made its money back. You didn't
Well, if you
need
look at
Kirk.
that year, sci-fi wise, there was this Stargate. Stargate did quite
Yeah,
well.
that made
In
bank.
fact, was Independence that year or the year after?
96.
That was 96. So this was 94. There wasn't a lot of competition in the science fiction genre, even, except for Stargate.
Yeah. And that did great.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Listen, I know people here aren't used to this on movies, films, and flicks, but this one gets to me a little bit, Niall, because it's like they have a clear blueprint on how to make a successful movie, and they have done so. and then they just note it into oblivion and ditch the next gen cast, and they don't make the best movie. It's kind of,
It was a disappointment.
yeah.
So I think when I went to, so I would have gone to see it in the cinema um, back in '94. And I remember liking it because it had Kirk, because it had all of the next gen characters. It's like, oh, Star Trek. And they have other Star Trek characters. Oh, I love the cameos. But that's where you run into trouble when you're tailoring the inclusion of characters to please 10-year-old boys. They probably don't necessarily have value in your actual storytelling process.
I agree. And they like Ebert said it was narcissism. Like he said this movie was kind of narcissistic
Yeah, I could see that.
because here's this person, here's that person, here's this cameo. Let's toss this person in there. And then you have the Nexus. Like, does the Nexus ever come back in
No,
Star Trek?
it's only in this movie.
It's not a great idea when it doesn't come back.
Yes.
Oh man, do you
I don't know.
think?
Has it even been mentioned in? It may have been. I think it's been mentioned in like the Lower Decks animated show. Probably made fun of, in fact.
Oh, got it. I mean, how else do you get these two together? Someone suggested a holodeck where he talks to Kirk, but it's kind of like, how could he talk to Kirk? It would
That
just be like an
didn't go
AI.
well when they
Yeah,
did that as well.
yeah.
The series finale of Enterprise, they had Riker cosplaying as the chef on the old Enterprise and interacting with the characters, and everyone hated it. It
Oh,
was just
really?
it went down really, really poorly.
Oh, wow.
They said it did a disservice to the characters, but that's a different thing. That was where they basically brought in a next gen character. Well, I suppose it is the same thing. They brought in a previous gen character to pass the torch almost with these new guys. So maybe they did learn nothing from Generations.
And yeah,
Because
they went and did the same
Enterprise
thing.
was what, 2000, 2001. I think the finale was like 2003, maybe.
Oh man. So what do you? So the hologram doesn't work, and you need Kirk. I guess you got to. You know what sucks? They're like,
Well,
how do we?
you can do time travel, but
Yeah, they already did it,
that's
right?
they've already done that.
And so they're like, okay, we need Kirk back. He's dead. So we need to invent
We
a
need to
place,
invent a way that he can that doesn't have very clear rules on how you can time travel from it
nebulous
because it
rules.
seems very convenient that you can just park yourself on a planet just exactly at the right time you need to make sure that the clock is actually ticking and you're not an hour early where you can just ambush the dude before he shows up. For these strategic thinkers, they're not very good at using their brains.
Yeah, and like they keep losing and they keep dying, and it's
Yeah.
oh man, it.
And that's the other thing that kind of it irritated a lot of fans that they did the ship dirty, that they had, this ship that had been the ship for the entire next gen run. All it gets to do is get blown up.
Yep, and just and by like just kind of a jabroni way too.
Yeah.
This is my least favorite Star Trek film. I'm gonna say that.
Interesting.
This is because it's not a. It's like all right, so two. All right, one at least one has a plot,
Yes. It's a
and it
very, very slow moving plot, but it has one.
but it goes there. It's like we got to go to V'ger, and it's not a Star Trek movie, but at least it's a narrative.
Yeah.
So that's my least favorite. Like the one with Shatner, there's a plot to it. There's that priest who wants to go and find a god, and then it's not really a
Who
god.
turns out to be Spock's secret brother, and there's a whole.
That's a lot, but at least they're going somewhere, right? It's like we're gonna go to this because there's this here. That
We
makes
have a
sense.
MacGuffin.
Yes. There's really no MacGuffin here. So they have a MacGuffin. And then I mean, I'm not gonna say three is bad because three is good. So yeah, yeah,
Three, as we discussed in previous ones, three is a very, very decent movie. Just not quite as good as two, four, or six.
correct. And so if it came down to 1, 3, 5 or this one, Generations, I would put Generations last.
Interesting.
Because it's right. Like the first 18 minutes are like the first 22 minutes mean nothing.
Yeah.
And then our characters fail They
a
die.
lot.
The Nexus is brought in. Like they're outsmarted. They get into his glasses. Like the people, the Star Trek people here are kind of, they look like dummies a little bit. Like they're just getting like pulverized every angle. And then you bring back Kirk. He dies twice. I think if someone asked me whether I'd watch this or the first one again, I'd say this because the first one's just way too much.
It is definitely rewatchable just because the production value is quite
Yeah,
good. Like the cinematography is quite good and it's
great.
nice to look at.
Yeah, that's it though. And it's short,
Yes.
but it's just not, it's not really a movie. And you know, McDowell
It's
signed on because he wanted to shoot Kirk in the back. And then they rewrote that. He's like, I get to be the guy who shoots Kirk in the back and kills him. And then he just gets smashed by a bridge.
he did get to drop a bridge on him, but
Yeah. I mean, he does kill him. No, he does he drop a bridge on him or the bridge just falls because
I
he
think
already shot him.
I think the bridge just falls.
Yeah. So he doesn't even like he kind of kills Kirk.
And that's got to be disappointing as an actor, where you've signed on to kill an iconic character, and then you don't actually get to.
Nope. And then you blow up like a dummy
Yeah,
because Picard got you. I will say, when Picard gets shot at and he does like this little flip backwards and roll, it's like so Star Trek, and I love it. It's like it's just a terrible stunt, and it makes me very happy.
well, you do see quite a lot of stills. I think Patrick Stewart, particularly in the early ones, didn't do a lot of his own stunt work, so there was a lot of double work,
Oh man.
and
Okay.
it was tough.
Well, do you have any other notes about this? I mean, a lot of my stuff is like, you know, they didn't even want like the explosions on this. Like the studio's like, we don't need explosions. Like they just spent 2 weeks on the ship. Like it's, I don't know. Oh, but the one funny thing is Dom Perignon 2265. Dom saw it and they threw them a big party in London, sponsored by Dom Perignon.
Oh,
So
nice.
they drank a lot, which is
That's
fun.
one way of getting your party funded.
Yeah, we need to do that. But yeah, it's yeah. You know what? This is my least favorite. Oh, well, is it my least favorite if I would rather watch Star Trek the motion picture? If I would rather watch it instead of motion picture?
Probably not, but you can probably say it's the least complete or the least good, but it's slightly more rewatchable than motion picture, which is a bit of a slog.
Question for you: is this a Star Trek film?
Um, yeah, but so what's missing and what has made some of the other films successful is the interplay between the actual characters that you're interested with. And as we said, we didn't really get that here.
Mm-mm.
It's just not, it's just horribly executed. I think cut half of it out and you make a decent two-parter episode.
Exactly. Like Data dealing with emotions episode.
Yeah.
Then you have
Um,
them on a boat episode. I don't know. Then you have a guy who wants to get in the
the
Nexus
guy who
because of his
wants to
family
do
episode.
done.
Done. 3 episodes.
Yeah.
At least two. I don't know. I don't know. Hey, do you want to do a 94 draft before we get out of here?
All right. Let's
Since this
see what
movie
we
came out
got.
in 94, and 94 is one of the greatest years ever.
It is ridiculous.
Oh, so I correct myself. The first 24 minutes is nothing. Like
Oh, well,
I said 22. So it's another, oh, it's an odd one. I'll give you first pick.
there are.
This is an insane one.
I mean, I think that year's Oscars had the most loaded
Yeah, it
Best Picture
did.
category
Yeah.
I've ever seen.
Should we take out the huge ones? Should we
Yeah,
take out?
maybe.
Okay, so let's leave Pulp Fiction out.
Yeah.
And what else should be left out? Just Pulp Fiction, I think is fair. What do you think?
Okay.
No Pulp Fiction.
All right. I am going to go for. I'll start with the bus that couldn't slow down,
Speed.
um,
I love it.
which is a fantastic action movie. It's just so focused on its premise and its purpose, and it's just great. Love it.
True Lies. If we
Ugh.
might as well get the big boys out of the way,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
I love True Lies.
Hmm.
You could pick three Jim Carrey movies from this year and they're all good.
Yeah, you could.
Um,
I'm gonna build a well-rounded squad. You're gonna like mine.
I'm gonna go for hmm. I'm gonna take The Mask. Like
Oh,
some Jim Carrey, like peak physical comedy.
did I tell you the story where when I went to watch The Mask when I was 12 and I was laughing so hard in the theater because I loved it so much, someone got mad at me. But I wasn't being, I distinctly remember not being obnoxious. I just thought it was hilarious. And someone said, like, told me to be quiet. And that kind of hurt me because I was like, I'm a pain in the butt. I know that. But at this instance, I was just happy. I always remember that, Niall. Just want to let you know. So
It's a
I'm
fun movie.
I'm gonna take Four Weddings and a Funeral because I had to watch that recently for a rom com thing I did, and it's like peak Richard Curtis, Hugh Grant, Andy McDowell rom com. Like
So
no one has jobs.
I saw an interview with Hugh Grant the other day. Apparently, Richard Curtis didn't want him for it.
Oh wow.
He so the producers and director role, or the producers wrote and the direct, yeah, he didn't direct it. He just wrote it. Were really keen, and Richard Curtis was like, "No, I don't want that guy."
Oh
He came around, obviously,
yeah,
and
yeah.
then they collaborated on multiple other films. But yeah, he said that Richard Curtis originally did not want him in that film at all.
I guess well, it's good that it worked out.
Yeah,
Oh man, there's
um,
so many movies that I'm looking at right now.
I know it's a tough one. I'm gonna go very eclectic. So I'm gonna take something from Ireland, a movie called The War of the Buttons,
Hey, the war.
which is it's like this like period piece set like in rural Ireland, and the kids like basically go and fight each other, and the way that you show that you've won is you cut the buttons off your opponent's like jacket and you take them home as trophies, and there's this whole like warring thing between these two towns of kids. It was very good.
Oh, I like that. The war, though. I'll have to add that to my list. I'll go funky then, and I'll take the Airheads.
Oh, nice.
I mean, Brendan Fraser, Steve Buscemi, Adam Sandler. Good movie. I love that movie.
Oof, oh,
Oh man, The
that's.
Last Seduction came out.
I'm gonna go Kevin Smith. I'm gonna
Got
go
it. Yep.
Clerks.
I'm kind of glad you took that off because I wanted to pick that. So that's good.
It's a that's another kind of classic movie that launched a career, almost similar to what we had with Ace Ventura, Mask, etc. All in that one year.
So I have an action film, a rom com, and a comedy. So I need to add like a drama in here. I think I can do that. Oh no,
Without taking the
listen,
ultimate,
no
without taking the
Shawshank,
ultimate ringer.
no Shawshank.
Yeah,
I was looking through here and I was like, oh yeah, no, none of that.
yeah. No Shawshank, no Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, that's like game over if you do
Yeah,
that. Okay. All right, good. I'm glad we're on the same page. I'm glad you didn't pick it. We're like, yeah, no Pulp Fiction. Then you go Shawshank Redemption. I'd be like, oh,
I wouldn't do that to you.
oh man, that'd be game over. All right, so I'm looking for a drama. You know what? I don't care. I'm gonna take Above the Rim because that soundtrack was huge, and Regulators
Nice.
came out, and that was like a big part of my '94. So I'm taking Above the Rim.
So I want to take a really crap film,
Do it. I'll take a crap
but
one for my last
but
pick.
it had a really cool concept. So The Page Master with
Yeah,
Macaulay Culkin, like where it started in real world, then went to like animation and stuff, and you had this whole thing. I remember I had it on like VCR and watched it a ton.
I like it. All right, so you picked a crap movie, not a crap movie, like a kids movie that's not. So
It's
it's
just not
fun.
a classic, put it that way. It was serviceable.
So I want to take a kids movie as well to kind of even everything. Oh, Camp Nowhere. I remember thinking that was amazing. Like they're kids and they have their own camp. Oh, I'm doing Angels in the Outfield.
Nice.
I wrote about that for the Ringer.
And
Angels
then
in
so what have I got? I've got Speed, The Mask,
the War of the Buttons, Clerks, and the Page
War the
Master.
Buttons, Clerks, and Page Master. All right, let's finish it off with The Professional, Leon,
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
which is
That's a
a
strong
fantastic
one.
film. That is a
Yeah.
strong film, but
Everyone.
I love
Oh,
Gary Oldman so much.
oh, that was a good. All right, so you picked like an R-rated film that didn't do great, but became like a
A cult
big
classic.
cult classic. So now I need to find oh, I think I got one. It's definitely not a cult classic. Oh, Hoop Dreams came out in '94. Can I
I
swap
think I've
Hoop
watched that
Dreams for
one.
Above the Rim?
Yeah, if you want.
Thank you. You're a good man. No one would have blog about you. All right, so I need to pick something that became. No, wait. I'm gonna take No Escape because I love that. I remember really loving that movie.
Nice.
Ray Liotta on an island being an action hero, blowing people up.
It's
I want,
fun. It was such a good year for movies.
yeah, and I like that we left out. I'm gonna go. Who put together the better 1994 squad?
Without
Without, yeah,
without Forrest Gump, Shawshank, Pulp
yeah,
Fiction, The Lion King, and I don't know, Dumb and Dumber or Ace Ventura or something.
yeah. Without the giant films, yeah. I didn't pick Dumb and Dumber,
What
but
about
that's not
Natural Born
fun.
Killers as
Like,
well?
I feel like most drafts that you do though, it's just kind of that you pick the same stuff. So I kind of enjoy us going funky here.
Yeah, it's more fun kind of trying to think about the obscure or the more random picks versus just taking the heavyweights.
Yeah, that's MFF for you right there. But Niall, thank you for joining me. And we're fine. You know what? I have never watched First Contact.
Oh,
So I feel like I'm
it's
in
a
for
good
a
one.
treat coming up
It's a
here.
good one.
Oh, I love it. This is gonna be great. Anything you want to promote or anything you got?
No, I'm gonna be off enjoying a nice
Life.
warm holiday for the next few weeks.
All right. When you're drinking a delicious beverage, cheers to you from
Well,
cold
don't worry.
Atlanta.
I'll boost your stats of the podcast in whatever country I happen to be in.
What's funny? My brother was going to go to the Dominican Republic, and we just hit number one there. And I was like, Eric, are you in the Dominican Republic? He's like, no. So just randomly, we're number one in the Dominican Republic.
Oh, it's nice.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Well, I'll see if I can boost you in Sri Lanka while I'm over there.
Yeah, please do. Yeah, promote the show. All right. So thank you for joining me, Niall.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's
All
been
right. So
fun.
for me, Mark Hoffmeyer, for Niall Moore, this is Movie Sons of Flicks. We'll see you next week.